Now, the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo-led NPP government is set to reintroduce road tolls with a close to 100% increment in the toll. Now, in November 2021, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta announced the immediate suspension of the collection of road tolls during the presentation of the budget. Now, he cited congestion, traffic jams at the tolls and as justification for the suspension of the collection.
Our roads are being fixed. It is true that more roads have been fixed and are being fixed over the last 5 years than any relative period in the entire history of our nation. We even want to do a lot more, and this budget will cater for this. That is why for decades, governments after governments imposed and maintained tolls on some public roads to raise funds for road construction and maintenance. This is the situation in many countries. However, over the years, the tolling and impacted negatively on productivity. The congestion generated at the tolling points, besides creating these inconveniences, also leads to pollution in and around the vicinities. To address these challenges, government has abolished all tolls on public roads and bridges. This takes effect immediately. The budget is approved on appropriation. The toll collection personnel will be reassigned. The expected impact on productivity and reduce environmental pollution will more than offset the revenue foregone by removing the tolls.
The then minority leader Reintroduction rejected the suspension and predicted that government will reintroduce the tolls at some point in time.
On the matter of toll booths, we want it reinstated, and we demand that toll booths be made functional and the revenues accruing from it made available for the Republic. They have no business, as if when you have the mandate to govern, you can just do as you please. Nowhere in the world will you travel and you not see functional toll booths. The state have lost significant amount of money arising out of it. We think that it's only proper that is reintroduced and probably adjusted so that we can rake in the needed revenue and use it as a vehicle to promote public-private partnership in the development of our road infrastructure and other infrastructure needed.
Well, today the Finance Minister, in a memo to the Roads Ministry, is seeking input in proposed hikes in road tolls. We'll share details with you in that particular memo. Government or the Finance Ministry is asking the Roads Ministry to make input into the proposed, hikes in prices, because they have to amend the existing act as they look at the number of roads that will be affected by this particular, reintroduction of the tolls. We remember that some time ago they said some specific roads, particularly roads that will be built through the public-private partnership, are the ones that will be affected by these road tolling. But now we understand that they will come on our roads whether or not they are private-public partnership or not. So that's how it's going to be. But Deputy Road Minister Stephen Jalula tells Joy News government is reintroducing the tolls because the e-levy is not performing as expected.
The e-levy came in, the government decided that the road tolls were going to be scrapped. Okay, so, but even before that particular budget was approved, there was chaos on all our tolling booths. So my boss thought it wise that there was no need for a life to be lost before this happened. And we knew that the good Parliament was going to, give us the approval. So he wrote that it should be suspended. Okay, road tolls were only suspended pending the approval of the budget. Yes, we used to get around 78 million per year, and that's a lot of money and can do something. But then in the e-levy was a component of a chunk of money. If we had approved e-levy at that, they said, and if the e-levy had worked the way it was conceived, I'm sure that we will not be talking about this today. But unfortunately, the e-levy failed us. It didn't work out the way we planned it. And that is why we are not talking about it. I know that over time, decision makers, the cabinet, the president's cabinet will come out again. If you are to introduce road tolls, why not? If you feel that we should, but let me also say that road tolls in Ghana was the least in the sub-region. You paid
in terms of how much
we paid. Okay. If we paid 50 pesos. Meanwhile, they said, you pay 50 pesos, but you want to have quality roads like we see in the advanced countries. It's very difficult.
Road tax consultant Dr. Abdallah Ali Nachia suggests that studies conducted suggest Ghanaians are ready to pay more for tolls if the revenue will be used in the construction of roads.
Don't we look at communication service tax? Our engagement shows that if you withdraw e-levy and rather increase communication service tax by 1%, they will like it. Then you reform it. The 0.5%, you see, the road toll shouldn't have been abolished. Can you increase road toll from 1 city to 5 cities? Our engagement shows that they have seen all the roads, Obechebilamte, flyovers, Takrade, they are prepared to pay. So you see, the 2.5 would have been spread across the handles without any impact being felt by only one sector. That is what we are missing.
Our roads engineer Mahama agrees with the decision to reintroduce tolls on our roads. He says Ghana is the least tolled in the country, in the world, which does not bring in the needed revenue. He is thus proposing an increment of around 300%. We'll hear from him shortly, but first, how much was the country making from the previous tolls, and how much are we likely to make when the new tolls are reintroduced? Isaac Kofi is with our research desk here at Joy News and joins me in studio with more Kofi. So how much were we making? What does the data really say?
Well, so before we scrapped the road tolls, we had about 38 tolling stations or toll stations that were collecting monies from. And on the average, we were making somewhere around close to 200,000 Ghana cedis every day. So it means annually we were making close to 72 million Ghana cedis. So if you take the whole year, the amount we were making from the 38 toll stations was around 72 million Ghana cedis. Now, it's been exactly a year and I think 2 months since we scrapped the road tolls. So if you do the math, if we are getting about 200,000 Ghana cedis every year, then it means currently we've lost at least 90 million Ghana cedis. And if you look at the current proposal that we have on board, the 88% upward adjustment, it means we are going to move from the annual, 72 million revenue to somewhere at least 100 million Ghana cedis every year.
Well, Jalula was also talking about the fact that e-levy has not really performed as expected. What do we know so far?
Well, so you remember that before, when the government introduced the e-levy, right after that, they had to, abolish the road tolls and said that the e-levy was going to be a means to actually, write off, or how do you call it, bring in the road tolls in there. So revenues from the e-levy was supposed to also use for, maintenance of our roads and other things. But we know the e-levy is not performing the way we anticipated it was going to perform. So last year, for instance, we were expecting close to 7 billion Ghana cedis. We ended up just getting a little around, 300 million Ghana cedis. So we're expecting 7 billion. We ended up getting just 300 million.
That's
and this year, exactly. This year, you see, last year's projection was 6 billion. This year, we are anticipating we'll get just, 3 billion. So it means the projection we had last year has been truncated about 50%. So 7 billion or 6.9 billion last year, now we are looking close to 3 billion. So the e-levy is not really doing well the way we were anticipating it was going to do well. But you can't also afford to be losing 72 million Ghana cedis every year. At this point in time where we are the IMF and we want a bailout, every billion cedi is important.
And so if we reintroduce the tolls, how much are we expected to be making yearly?
So currently the current average is 72 million. But if you look at the upward adjustment, although it's not across the 38 tolling stations, per the calculations we've done so far, we are not looking, we are looking at around at least 100 million Ghana cedis every year.
Interesting. Grateful to you. Now, let's go on to the phone lines and I speak to Engineer Mahama, who really understands the issues that we're talking about. Engineer, grateful that you could be here. Now, you're proposing that we should be making around or charging around 300% hike in the old tolls. Now, why are you making this call when Ghanaians are really not happy even with the tolls? I mean, a lot of Ghanaians have been complaining about the tolling. Well, Engineer, if you could speak up a bit for us so we can follow what you're telling us.
In fact, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yes.
Well, I'm saying a good evening to your cherished viewers. Last year, I condemned the cancellation of the toll, and I cited reasons why it has to, it ought not to have been cancelled. And I made projections by saying that by a year, if not two, the tools will definitely come back. And so I'm not surprised that
about the reintroduction.
Start from where we left. Said yes, the reintroduction of the tool. Across the media landscape, I've been very emphatic on why it will definitely come back, because it was a very unpopular decision to cancel the tool, whether it was suspended temporarily or what. It was very unpopular. It depends on some of these tax or tools it was quite amazing that look at the challenges we are confronted with. We cannot eliminate the tool and expect to function better on the road. My checks over the years, and the reason why I feel we are not realizing, or we are not actually charging what we need to be charged, is that if you look at our neighbors, Nigeria, Burkina Faso, and the Côte d'Ivoire coast.
All right, so we're speaking to Engineer Mahama, who has a lot of knowledge when it comes to the road sector in this country. Now, this whole reintroduction and the hike in the toll will affect transport operators. So what do transport operators like GPRTU say about this particular development? Abbas Imoro speaks for the GPRTU, and he joins us on phone now. Grateful to you, sir, for joining us. So I'm sure you've heard the development in there about the reintroduction of tolls in the country. What does GPRTU make of this decision by government? Okay, so if you just joined us, the news is that government is proposing to reintroduce tolls on our roads, and also the reintroduction will come with hikes in the tolls that we used to pay. For example, according to a memo that the Finance Ministry has sent to the Roads Ministry, if you're a motorbike rider or you have a motorbike, you used to pay 10 pesos when the tolls were there or when the booths were on our roads. Today, when they reintroduce it, you are expected to pay 50 pesos. If you have a car, you used to pay 50 pesos. Now, when they are reintroduced, you pay 1 cedis. If you drive a pickup or 4x4, you used to pay 1 cedis. Today, you are expected to pay 1 cedis 50 pesos when they are reintroduced. Light buses will also pay 1 cedis 50 pesos. For mommy wagons, you will pay 1 cedis 50 pesos. Heavy buses will pay 2 cedis. Light goods trucks or trucks with 2 axles, you are expected to pay 2 cedis. Medium goods trucks, that's trucks with 3 axles, used to pay 2 cedis. Today, if they are reintroduced, you pay 3 cedis. Heavy good trucks or trucks with 4 axles, you'd also pay 3 cedis. For trucks with 5 or more axles, you will pay 3 cedis 50 pesos. Agricultural tractor, instead of 50 pesos in those days, today you will pay 1 cedis. agricultural tractor with trailer, you still pay 1 cedis. Engineer Mahama joins us on the phone now. So you were making a point about why the need to reintroduce, and also why you are asking for government to even increase the tolls by around 300%.
Well, I said that across the world, I've been very emphatic with information and fact that we are the least paid toll in the world. You cannot develop your road sector with the amount of money we realize a year. We are told that we receive about 72 million Ghana cedis, equivalent about $12 million a year. That $12 million can just do about a 3 or 4 kilometer stretch of a dual road maximum. And a 4 kilometer stretch is just like from Joy News TV towards Papaya or Achimota. That is the maximum that that amount of money can do. And if your neighbors, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria, are charging the passenger car unit, which is the saloon cars, 5 cedis average, which is 90%. You are doing 50 pesos. So if you are doing 50 pesos, it means you are doing 90% less than your neighbors. And so you cannot be able to make any noise or to complain about the fact that you are not actually enhancing or improving the road, because that money can do just a fraction of a road stretch in Ghana. Secondly, the toll had a challenge, which we are all aware, that the minister was emphatic that the challenges around the toll, the circumstances led to the cancellation, which was the slow pace of traffic within those catchment areas. And we have said that is because of the poor nature of the toll booth system we have in Ghana. The toll booth at Ayimensa, the toll booth at the Dodowa Stretch, the toll booth at Afenia Stretch. You cannot have wooden kiosks sitting in the middle of the road, squeezing the road race, and expecting that when you are towing the road, you have smooth flow of vehicular movement in that stretch. Why is it that Amasama used to have a very dense traffic, yet the toll at Pobeman was one of the most free toll in the country? So if you properly design the toll, you will not be confronted with the challenges that the minister was actually enumerating. So we need to get this fact clear, that we need to pay more, we need to ensure that we are paying better. Otherwise, but one thing is that if the Ghanaian populace is paying the realistic fees that I'm proposing beyond what government has stated, I am thinking that a 300% increase will not be far-fetched. And because when that is done, then the citizenry will now hold government accountable to be transparent enough in how much they are realizing at the end of the year, and how the amount of money which is being put into maintenance of the roads, i.e. reshaping, regraveling, pothole patches, asphalt overlay, or reconstruction of newly identified routes in the country. This must be done, because we cannot, and I don't see how we can come up with the 50 pesos, 90 pesos, 150 pesos with these trucks which are on our road. If you go to Cote d'Ivoire, if you go to Burkina Faso, those heavy-duty trucks are paying not less than 25 Ghana cedis at a toll.
Okay. All right. I'm grateful to Engineer Mahama for joining us tonight with